What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Damn, this shit ripping. As soon as London session starts. London session started now. All right, got retracement. Test. Let me see how we sounding. Appreciate y'all liking the live already. What's going on, the guys? You here? What's going on? So if y'all was in the London session live yesterday or the TikTok live, we broke this thing down. It's been absolutely crazy. So what I've been noticing, it's gonna be funny if it starts not being like this. But what I've noticed the past couple weeks is there's been some nice setups during London session, but like it's like pre-New York, and then the middle of New York is like when the serious moves have been taking over. Where usually it'd be like we could catch a nice move, maybe Tokyo session, also maybe London session, and then also going into New York. And I've been noticing, especially this week, the past couple days, the setups we took during London session, they don't go the full way or keep on pushing. And there's like a huge retracement and then a big ice pump going into New York session. Obviously, each session has volume come in, but you know, if y'all know what I'm talking about, if you know what I'm talking about. But we're gonna be looking for some GJ sells again, right? So again, this is what I was talking about as well. So Monday we went for a GJ sell, but we still respect this level as resistance. It's why it's important to understand how the charts work. You always assume the price doesn't go your full way that you're wrong, or you should be going for a buy instead of sell or sell instead of a buy. Because as you can see, right, New York session yesterday, price did the exact move we was before on Monday, and what we was talking about in the Sunday chart analysis as well. So we just did a nice retest right here. And still struggling to break the floor right here. We had a couple setups we're looking at. Make sure you like the live, y'all hop up in here, y'all. Dropped a new video for y'all yesterday. Make sure to check that out if you haven't already. So we see GJ retesting this level right here. I like how this is looking right here. We just had JPY news pop off. We had New Zealand news last night as well. So again, especially when it's like FOMC, it goes kind of two ways, right? We're either going to catch a nice setup prior to FOMC, or some FOMC days, volume's dead all day or retracing all day up until the news pops off. We're really interested to see what today looks like, but we're still going to be looking for a setup. We're going to be looking for continued GN buys. We're waiting to see if GN can hold 31.45 as support. If we can hold 31.45 as support, we look for buys to go back up to 32.25. All right, and then we're going to be looking at GJ sales as well. Continued GJ sales. We have price continuing to dump. As we can see here, we're right now trying to see if we can maintain and hold 186.30, 186.35 as resistance. If we can hold this low as resistance, we can look for sales going down to 185.70. So that's what we're looking at right now. But again, we can see price has been struggling to really hold this low as resistance. As we can see even right here, we saw a rejection at the beginning. We saw a nice dump at the beginning of the live stream. But we can see here price is still trying to figure out what it's going to do. So again, we're just going to be patiently waiting for volume to kick in. But yeah, we're going to be mainly watching these two charts right here. But like always, y'all, if you guys got any questions, drop them in the chat. I'm looking at any charts, drop them in the chat. We're going to be letting gold do its thing for right now, right? I'll not be looking for buys unless it breaks and holds 3060 as support. So if we can hold that low as support, we see momentum in play. All right, but this is reversal. So I don't know how I feel about reversal. Just gonna let price do its thing. But like, especially on like the grand scheme of things, we are still extremely bullish in gold, especially going to like bigger time frames. We're still extremely bullish, and like I said, everything else, quote unquote, crashing. Gold has been the main thing, still pumping up and breaking all-time highs. I think it's failed to only break all their previous all-time highs, or surpass them. But gold has been constantly doing it. But like I said, it's easy. So yeah, we're gonna be mainly watching GJ and GM, y'all. 5 minute just popped up. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Again, we're waiting to see if we can hold this level as support right here. What's going on? What's going on? So yeah, we got a couple setups we're looking at. Again, we had New Zealand news and GBPJPY news pop. Let me turn this down a little bit so it's not loud on my end. We had JPY news just popped off an hour ago. Then we had New Zealand news pop off last night. So if y'all see the London session live yesterday, a couple of charts from that projected. Again, I was telling y'all not to look for sellers yesterday on GBP New Zealand. I told y'all to look for buys. You see this was London session yesterday. You go to yesterday's live, you'll see it had this buy set up. I was telling y'all to look for buys. And you can see that literally all the way price flew back up to the upside, which again is why I always stress to follow the flow of price based off not the smaller time frames, but the bigger time frames, right? Because when we go into the bigger time frames, right? And if y'all was in the TikTok live yesterday, we pulled out the playbook, we broke down how this followed the rules of the uptrend. And I also told y'all in the Sunday chart analysis, pull it up. I also told y'all, oh yeah, quarter two sales still going on, Q2 for 25% off. But I also told y'all in the Sunday chart analysis that we're still bullish as long as we held this level as support right here. You can see here that price held that level as support both for Monday and yesterday. Now we see a new higher high being made. Again, this is why you want to follow the flow of price instead of chasing price. So we're going to be looking for continued buys right here on GBP New Zealand. We're looking to see if we can break and hold 31.45 as support. If we can hold 31.45 as support, we can look for buys going back up to this resistance level at 32.20, 32.15. We're also looking at GJ sales. As you can see, this is how the first candlestick started off, immediately wicking down. So we're either going, excuse me, we're either going to be looking for retracement retest to see if it can continue to hold 186.35 as resistance, or we're going to wait to see if it can break a hold 185.65 as resistance, and then look for continued sales going to 184.75. Now, keep in mind, we do have FOMC today. All right. Going to be going live with the members, students during this to see how the news plays out. Also break down the setups we took this week as well as the other setups we talked about. But like always, y'all make sure to like the live. Already. Now they got questions up in the chat. And yeah, we're about to see what this next. You got the GU setup from Monday. You talking about that sell setup we talked about? Yeah, that's funny you said 1 to 3 because it literally did a 1 to 3 right here. Right now, I like to. Now, obviously, I don't know what your stop loss was because depending on your stop loss, it could be a lot tighter than mine. But yeah, that Monday setup, I got a 1 to 3 on that as well. Then we took a GU setup yesterday. Didn't go the full way. Didn't hit all the TPs, hit like TP3, TP4. So it was a little bit over a 1 to 1. Then we see prices rejected after that. Always want to encourage secure profits, especially. And by secure profits, I'm talking about taking partial. I'm talking about like move and sell into profit, especially when you moderate the charge. Right? You don't want to let winners turn to losers. Right? If you watch Monday's live or the Sunday chart analysis, because Monday's live stream, G was dropping since the beginning of the learning session. I was telling y'all we could see sales here, but this was reversal. I also told y'all if we held this level as resistance, then we could see continued sales on that downtrend come into play, which is what we saw here. Right? Because after price broke this level twice, broke it, did a big dump. As you see, it's still respecting this level as resistance even right now. Right? So we have bearish momentum and the downtrend is in play. As you can see here, we broke through this level. We got the downtrend there. We still got a bit of work to do for the downtrend to continue. Still this lower low coming into play. But again, that's why I tell y'all, I don't just be saying that when I do the recaps. I don't just be saying a lot of setups when as projected for the Sunday chart analysis, London session live, not watching 2 years. I'm not just saying that to say that. I'm literally telling y'all every trade we take, we break down, if not enter during the London session lives, as well as the Sunday chart analysis, right? This GN setup went absolutely crazy. Like this first position I got was 1 to 4. The second position was also another 1 to 4. I'm not in this anymore. I got out. Well, I didn't even get where I closed, to be honest, because I didn't really know how the news was gonna play out. Now I know I was gonna be on the charts. Last night I was doing some other stuff, so I just closed the position. So I'm looking for a new position right here. What else was projected? Gold. If y'all was in the London session while I watched the chart analysis, gold when that's projected Monday as well. Also when that's projected yesterday. All right, so again, it's called a pivot for a reason. Called a pivot for a reason. It's crazy right now. I want to see if GN is going to do something for us. It's chilling right now. Right, but this is why it's always important to follow the flow of price and to trust your analysis. Because me and the members, we went for this GJ setup. I can show this one because it already played out, right? So let me go to the next place soon. Right, so I can show you that there ain't no cap in the wrap. Right. Let me go to it really quick. And this is an old trade. All right, this is an old trade. So nobody take this setup. All right. What we see here when the advanced play signal room, you can see here that this was our entry. Let me just go into YouTube really quick to make sure I'm not sounding static or anything. Yeah, see, this is why I gotta just start keeping my thing. All right, let me see this a little bit better. And again, I've been telling you, I say it all the time. It is what it is at this point, but it's only when I'm streaming that we be sounding James. I use the same exact mic. Let me see, we sound a little bit better. Give me a second. Do some audio testing. Let me try to fix it because I sound like I'm underwater right now. I'm trying to fix it really quick. Test, test, test. Let me see how we sound. Let me see how we sound. Let me turn the music down too. All right, we sound a little bit better. I just gotta stay by the mic too, because I also don't be staying by the mic. All right, there we go. I just gotta, cause I don't be yelling. When I talk to people, I don't be yelling. I be, you know what I'm saying? But I gotta get used to, especially when I'm streaming, get in the mic and all that good stuff. But it's all good. So again, this is why it's important to follow the flow of price and trust your analysis, right? Because this was the setup we took and broke down Monday on GBPJPY. We hit like TP3, right? So again, you see April 7th. Monday was indeed, in fact, April 7th. Just pull out your not your calculator, your calendar. So you see we took this trade 547 during London session. Right? You see the entry and sales. You see we hit TP3, and then we broke down this price watches as well as a couple other charts that we broke down, like again, gold, GU, all that good stuff. But you see here, this was the full trade idea, all right? Final TP 186.95, right? So a lot of times, especially when you're a new trader, when you get wicked out or price doesn't go the full way, you'll assume that you was wrong. But that's not the case, right? When I tell y'all, when y'all stick to the playbook and you'll follow the flow of price, You're never wrong if your stop loss gets hit. I know that sounds crazy, but you're never wrong if your stop loss gets hit when you're following these rules. Again, that's the most important part, because when you follow these rules, only way your stop loss is going to get hit, or it's not going to go your full way, is if one, there's a lack of volume, which we can clearly see in these candlesticks, but it's also Monday. And like I said, every Sunday chart analysis, Monday and Tuesday are typical days of the week due to everything opening up and due to the lack of volume, right? Or B, the second option, you get caught in a reversal, which is those are two things you can't control. You can't control the volume in the market, and you can't control if you're going with the flow of price. And then the time you enter the trade just so happens to be the time or the day that a reversal and trend change happens. That's not nothing you can control, right? You're still following your rules. So you see here, this was Monday. Then we go to Tuesday, right? And then we see again, and never broke past this resistance level, which is also what I broke down during the London session live in New York price watch list. But it not only didn't break past this resistance level, it never turned it into a support level, showing that there was still bearish momentum. And then again, we can see here, once volume picked in, and also, the flow of price, doing what the flow of price does, not only did it do the full move I was looking for yesterday, but it surpassed it even more, right? So this is why it's important to understand how to read the charts, trust your analysis. And again, when you're not trying to chase every candlestick and you're following the flow of price, it makes it a lot easier to understand what's going on and to trust your analysis. Because I know we're in a downtrend, so I know I should go for sales. So if I get wicked out or my stop loss gets hit, but I'm in a downtrend and I'm looking for sales, does that mean I went for the wrong move? No, right? So this is why it's important to understand what you're doing on the charts. Because when you understand what's going on, you can make a lot less impulsive decisions, but you're also be able to be cool, calm, and collected, and also understand what's happening. But another reason why I'm able to be so cool, calm, and collected in these trades and setups is, like I always tell y'all. Let me actually just drop the video in the chat really quick, because I talked about it in the video I dropped last week. So let me drop that in the chat. So make sure to watch this video, y'all, after the live. Boom. Yeah, I just gotta start talking in the mic like this because I sound good right now. Again, y'all, if you guys got any questions, drop in the chat. When we can make charts, drop in the chat. All right, but this is why this video right here is so important, right? Because majority of, when people talk about trading psychology, this, down the third, majority of that is because of two main things. The first major thing is the lack of understanding how to read the charts, right? You don't know what's going on, but you know your money's at risk, which goes into the second thing. A lot of y'all are over leveraging or not properly calculating a lot sizes. Y'all are risking way more than y'all should, or y'all are risking the amount that is not too much, but you're not okay with losing, right? You're going to lose some trades sometimes. So when you're not over leveraging and you also accept the amount that you're risking, you're going to be a lot more cool, calm, and collected. Because think about it. If I have a strategy and a game plan that averages me a high 80, high 90% win rate on a weekly, monthly, and quarterly basis, like we do right here in the playbook, and then on top of that, I'm risking the same amount every single trade, and I'm okay with the amount I'm risking. And on top of that, I always make sure my wins are going to cancel out my losses by always going for a 1 to 2 to 1 to 3 minimum ratio setup. Where's all this stress? Where's all this stuff you will be talking about? It literally goes out the window. You get what I'm saying? This is why it's important to have a game plan and really dissect and break this shit down. You get what I'm saying? So new 5 minutes about to pop up. Again, we're mainly watching a couple setups. GJ's doing this thing, so again, we're looking for retracement, retest, or price to break the next level, which will be 185.60. And then we're also looking at the end buys, but we need GN to not just break, right? There's another reason why we don't breakout trade. Imagine we wouldn't have patiently waited and just went for a trade because price broke this level. We would have took a loss for no reason. And all we had to do was wait an extra 5-10 minutes to see that price was not ready to hold this level. You see what I'm saying? It's always important to not enter breaks, but wait for retests. Right? You should never be in a rush to throw your money away. But if price can hold 31.45 support, we're gonna be looking for buys going back up to 32.20. All right, that's the game plan right there. All right, so price is pushing down. So we're just gonna put the sell idea here. So again, we're not gonna take a trade just because price breaks this level. We still need it to hold as resistance. So from this point, we're gonna see one of two things. Price gonna break this level, hold as resistance, which is what we want to see, or price is gonna reject this level, range, try to push back down, or retest this level. Okay, so that's what we're watching right now. Why didn't I? I did, but it moved too quick to call a signal. That's another downside, right? So that's another reason why I go live, because sometimes moves happen too quick, so I can't call a signal in time. But that's why I go live and literally voice everything out loud so y'all know and you can be prepared with me, right? But this literally happened as soon as I was sending the live out and shit like that. So after I sent the link out in the live and I was typing the signal up, it dropped down. So, you know, that's just one of the downsides of being a signal caller, right? The marketers aren't going to just pull a chair out and be like, hey, hold up, wait, trying to, send this out to everybody. So let's wait a second. So that's why I always ahead of time tell y'all what I'm looking at and looking for, because I do this all in real time, right? I do this all in real time, right? I know where I'm entering at, but I type up the trades and other trade ideas in real time, send them out. Right? I tried to do it ahead of time, but it literally started to move right as learning session started. So you know what I'm saying? But that's why when prices retesting, like yesterday, for example, if y'all was in yesterday's live, that's why I was quiet when the price was retesting, right? Because one, I was focusing to see one if my confirmation was being met or not, because I was with the pull trigger into the trade, but also because I was typing the signal up, I don't know how everybody else is, but I'm the type where I can't talk and type at the same time. I'm gonna end up saying what I'm typing or typing what I'm saying. So that's why I was like, that's why I was like, give me a second, y'all. Give me a second, y'all, because I was trying to type things up. This one just happened a little too quick. There's nothing to do about that, right? Because this was 2:45. This was 3 o'clock candlestick. Very wicked and dropped immediately. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I'm gonna start calling more signals out. I'm not gonna go overboard still, but I'm gonna start calling probably again if I see the setups, the signal. I'm probably gonna start calling at least one per session, like I used to back in the day, because I know a lot of times people be hesitant to take these setups too unless I call a signal out. Because, like for example, I didn't call this signal out, but I said it in the London session live as well as the New York price watch list, right? I also said it in the price watch list. We look for buys here, right? Whoops. I don't know if y'all gonna be able to hear it, but even if y'all can't hear it, y'all can see 2760 as resistance. We look for the same sell setup. Now, looking at pushing back down, again, just because consolidated ranging, but if it can hold 30.08 as resistance, we can look for sales going to 29.84 and 2760, which would be that. See, so and I know a lot of people be wondering what we be talking about the live, so that's why I do. So like There's a lot of setups that I break down in the videos. I don't necessarily call signal, especially if we already had a trade that we made some money on, because any more trades, that's just extra bonus points. But I understand some people will also be hesitant to take setups unless I call the signal out. But that's why I also always be like, hey, this is going as projected, or like you can see right here, I'll break some shit down, and either the lives, or I'll do some videos, voice messages, all that good shit. All right. And I do this all the time in advanced considering because again, I want people to understand, like, once my computer, there we go. I want people to understand what I see and how shit works. You get what I'm saying? But that's what I be saying. That's why, again, I don't be trying to rub it in people's face. I know every time I post the recap of the day, somebody gets mad and leaves, somebody unsubscribes. I'm like, I'm not bragging. I'm trying to show y'all, like, this shit is easy if y'all lock in. And I also trying to show y'all, because people always be like, oh, you're trying to charge for stuff. First of all, my shit is, I don't want to say I'm cheap, but my shit is way more affordable than other people. And plus, like I said, Q2 sales going on right now. But on top of that, I give a lot of free. That's why I'm like, y'all just have to attend the lives. That's why when people be in the live streams, I'll give like extra game out, or I'll go super in depth with certain shit, because I like to reward those that like to take time out the day and actually try to learn some shit, right? Because again, we see how many people's in here, right? We see how many people's in here. We also see how many people are in the live or watch the replay. Because again, I get it. Sometimes you can't watch the live, you miss the live. But you know what I'm saying? That's why I always be getting all this extra game and shit out. But I be saying all the time, that's why we're like, if y'all not tuning into the where is it? Right. That's why I like a lot of setups when that's projected from the Sunday chart analysis and the London session lives. And that's why when I do the recap, I purposely put it on the Sunday chart analysis because I want y'all to watch it to see how price looked at the beginning of the week, see what I was saying at the beginning of the week, and then compare the charts to the end of the week to see how things went, what I was correct about, what I was wrong about, right? Because I want to show y'all that, again, like, this shit is not hard once you put the time in. You get what I'm saying? That's why I always shout y'all out that be watching the lives, because again, not everybody want to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? So we hit this next level. So again, like I said, we're going to see one or two things happen. We're either going to see price try to hold this level as resistance, or we're going to reject this level, right? And the GN rejected this level here, right? So this is again why we wait for retest, because this retest failed to hold as support. This retest succeeded, held as resistance, dropped price to the downside, versus this retest failed. We also had news going on, right? So we're about to see if we can keep pushing right here. Yeah, but I'll probably, like I said, I'm probably gonna start doing one signal a session. Again, I'm not gonna force anything like always. If my confirmations are met and my rules are met for signals that I call in the signal room, I'm gonna start doing that, because like I said, there'll be a lot of shit going as projected. But again, like, we've already had a winning signal called out. I'm not gonna throw out a bunch of shit, but that's why I do the videos. That's why I do the newer price watch list. That way, again, I know some people aren't awake during London session. So if y'all missed the setup during London session, there's Tokyo session to look for setups, and there's also New York session, right? I always tell you, if the markets are open, your confirmations are met, take that setup. I literally take trades. Now, I fucked up yesterday. I was kind of mad yesterday, right? I took a trade last night on GN, but I closed it out because the broker had me fucked up. Let me explain why. I took a trade as soon as 6 o'clock. As soon as it was 6 o'clock, like 6:01, I took a trade on GN, and I caught a nice buy, right? Right, it was right here. As soon as market opened, caught a nice buy. This whole move, I was not in profit until price broke this level. And I was looking at my thing. I was like, how the fuck? Because I was looking, because again, I look at the charts. I don't really look at my broker and shit unless I'm like about to adjust my stop loss or something like that if I'm taking a trade. So the whole time I was like, oh man, this trade's going crazy. So then I go to my broker to see how much I'm up. And I was like, that's not right. Why am I just breaking out a drawdown? They put a freaking, now my spreads aren't like that right now, but they put a freaking 155 pip spread on market open. I said, y'all know y'all are wrong for that. Why the fuck would you have it 155 pip spread? And then every hour it slowly went back down to where its regular numbers are, which is like between 5. And again, we see, all right, GJ rejecting that level. This is why, again, we want to wait to see if we can hold it, not just break that level. But yeah, that shit was crazy. I was like, y'all foul for that. But yeah, so always check y'all spreads to make sure it's the normal numbers you should be seeing. All right, now I don't know how every broker is, but each pair is different as well. But but Forex pairs, like, shit should not be more than like 20, 25 pips. And that's like on the max. So on average, it should be like 5, 10 pip spread on good brokers. And some won't have any spread. Right, but that thing was crazy right there. But this is why, again, it's important to stay to the rules, but also understand how the charts work, right? Because again, am I from the future? Did I know because I'm from the future that price was going to do one of those things? No, it's because I've seen it happen 1,000 times, more than 1,000 times, really. But also because I understand the rules of price, right? So again, when you understand the rules of price, there is no shock or surprise when shit happens, and you'll be able to know all the possible next moves or candlestick formations, right? And that's the most important part. That's why we're able to do shit like this all the time. All right, so GU is pushing back down. When you take a look at gold, gold is not pushing back down. GU is pushing back down. So if it breaks back below this one, we're not against the sell here. Not against the sell here if it breaks back below. So if you can hold back 27.95 as resistance, I'm not against the sell here. The reason why I never sell here is I did a nice dump yesterday after London Central retraced a lot. So depending on how it reacted to this level, we could have got sucked back into reversal territory, right? Versus the price not only respects this level as resistance, but breaks back below this level, we have a higher likelihood of the bearish potential continuing and seeing continued sells, right? So again, yeah, I could have caught some pips there, but again, when you know when you take a trade, you're going to make money. There's no point in trying to chase every candlestick. That's why I'm telling y'all, right? You want to go for high probability, high quality sells. The goal isn't to catch every candlestick, because when you get into that mindset, you're going to start trying to chase every candlestick and every move, right? So I like to go and let price come to where I see I have the highest likelihood of seeing success in the trade. Me doing that is, again, why we have such a high win rate, right? It's because, again, not because every chart I look at goes as projected, right? Because that'd be a lie for me to say that, because there are plenty of charts, right? I look at least 5, 6 charts today, and not every single chart goes as projected, but at least 2 out of 3 of those go as projected. And out of those 2 out of 3, I'm taking one of those positions, right? It's very rare that I take a trade where we don't hit a TP and we just hit a stop loss straight up. And that's because, again, I'm going for strictly high probability, high quality setups, nothing less, right? Very, very, very picky with my trades, especially when it comes to calling them in the signal. Yeah, I need to get close to him. I gotta get a thing. That's what I need to do. I know exactly what I need to do with this mic. Let me catch up to the chat. I know I can, when I go into teacher mode, I can go on for a minute, but and then we see price rejecting. Again, we do got FOMC later on today, ladies and gentlemen. We got FOMC at 2 o'clock today. We'll be going live with the members and students during that. All right, so make sure you're on the lookout for that link, members. Make sure you're on the lookout for that link. We want to see how that plays out. We got a new 5-minute about to pop up as well. You guys got any questions, drop them in the chat. We're looking at your charts, drop them in the chat. I'm about to catch you to the chat right now. Just dropped a new video for y'all yesterday as well. Make sure to catch the videos after the live. If you're not caught up, all playlists are up to date. Also, make sure to hit that first link in the description. Go to free signal for Telegram. See on your screens how we did last month and last quarter. Go ahead and hit that first link and check it out for yourself. And the official playbook is available, y'all. I got some other books I finished as well. I might show them every now and then, but they're all on the website. I got a lot of stuff in store for y'all, right? Check this out, y'all, right? Again, quarter two sale is active. Use Q2 for literally anything and everything, 25% off everything. People already been using it, so I know the code works. So again, it's just Q2, just 2 characters. All right, let me see what's going on up in here. All right, cool. So let's see, we can hold as low as resistance. Still looking for buys on GM, right? We're still bullish, right? Just let me double check on the bigger time frames. We're still bullish. So I'm going to let price retrace. But once we see price hold the next level as support, I'm going to look for a buy. I like this. That's the same thing we did here, right? You did not see me once utter the word sale on Monday. He said buys. Why? Because again, we're still bullish. So all I knew was once we see price hold a level as support, and as long as we still following the rules of the uptrend, I'm pulling the trigger and going for buys. And sure enough, boom. And again, if y'all was in the TikTok live, y'all saw this whole process, right? If y'all was in the TikTok live yesterday, right? We went live twice, right? 11:38. We go to 11 o'clock. Y'all saw this whole thing because we was live for like 2 hours. Y'all saw this whole thing play out. And I broke it down on TikTok live yesterday, right? And again, if y'all was in the London session live yesterday, I broke that down as well. And then y'all saw I talked about it also New York price watches with the members and students, right? So, and again, this is why we wait for price to not just break, but retest. Because imagine if we took that trade just because we broke that level, another unnecessary loss, right? That's why I'm anti-breakout trading, and I don't get why people be trying to argue with me about that. Yes, you can still breakout trade, but let me ask you something. If simply just waiting an extra 5 to 15 minutes would turn your 40-50% win rate to an 80-90% win rate, would you wait that extra 5 to 15 minutes? I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to wait the extra 5 to 15 minutes, right? That's just how I see it. Did I enter GJ after rejection candle close or from the point you wanted to retrace? It's very simple, right? And again, this is why I say the way I say it, right? Like I just said with here, I want to see price break and hold as resistance, right? Once I see the price showing that it's not only broken that level, but holding as resistance, I'm pulling the trigger. Like buys, once I see price broke a level or held that support, I'm pulling the trigger. Once price broke this level, held that support, I pulled the trigger, right? There's no magic candlestick or a certain amount of times price got to touch a level. I just don't like to enter a trade once price has broken the level for the first time. That's why I say I want to see how it closes. It's not necessarily I need to see this certain candlestick. I need to see the candlestick close if it just broke that level, right? Because just because price breaks a level doesn't mean it's going to hold that level, right? Again, there's so many examples all over the place. This is why I always tell the members and students, right? It's important where the candlestick goes, but it's more important where it closes, right? Because wicks are a thing. And we don't know if a candlestick is going to be a full body candlestick or turn into a wick until that full candlestick closes and plays out, right? So that's why I don't like to break out trade, because as we saw here, that body that was a full body red candlestick turned into a wick, into a green candlestick, right? When we look at GU, this was a red candlestick, but because we patiently followed our rules and waited for it to close, that turned into a wick in the green candlestick. You see what I'm saying? But there's no magic number candlesticks or anything like this. Literally every chart, every trade is situational, but the rules are still the same, which is why, again, it's important to understand how to read the charts, because when you understand how to read the charts, then you'll understand what is media confirmations or not. It's just like an uptrend or downtrend, right? Not every uptrend is going to look the same. Not every downtrend is going to look the same, right? Not every uptrend is going to look like this, right? That's why it's important to understand the rules of the uptrend, because the uptrend can also look like this, but we can still be bullish, but people will be confused, right? This is why it's important to understand the rules of price and follow and stick to the playbook. All right, well, and again, if you want more examples, I highly recommend watching my trade breakdown playlist, because I got over 90 video. I think it's at 90 now. Let me see how many videos we got in the trade. No, it's almost at 90. It'll probably be at 90 this week or next week. It's at 88 videos currently. I got over 80 videos back to back to back, buy setups, sell setups that I've personally taken, as well as called out with the members and students. And I break down from start to finish the entire process. All right, so I recommend checking that out so you can get a better idea of when I'm looking at how I approach the markets. All right, so I'll drop my one of my most recent ones. Right, here's another one as well. Let me drop this one in the chat. New 5 minute about to pop up. And again, this is why you want to wait as well, because imagine if I would have just took this trade because price touched this low. I would have took a this isn't my stop loss. I gotta fix that. That's just where I placed it at. That's not my stop loss, right? But if we can hold this little support here at 38.90, we can look for buys still. But it's still gonna need to hold this level. That support for the uptrend to continue. And this is also why it's important not to chase price, right? Because imagine if you opened the charts, you saw price down here, and because you FOMO'd in, you would have took unnecessary loss. That's why I always say, let price retrace. I always say at the beginning of life, price is always going to retrace. Retracements are part of the game. All right, so if you never miss a setup, just re-enter once price retraces, or like we were doing here, wait for price to come to the next spot for the best entry. All right, it's very, very, very simple. Very, very, very simple. So we gotta see how these candlesticks play out. You guys got any questions? Drop them in the chat. When we get any charts, drop in the chat. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, y'all. And make sure to join the free Signal and free Telegram. You see on your screen how we did last month and last quarter. Go ahead and hit that first link and check it out for yourselves. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it up right now. We have been going absolutely crazy this year. Well, we've been going crazy last year. We've been going crazy every year, right? But we've just been going absolutely crazy. We went 4-0 last week. You scroll up. This is how we ended quarter one to start off the year. January, we went 17-3, catching 7,463 pips. February, we went 14-1, catching 1,152. March, we went 13-1, catching 146,592 pips. Let me pull out my phone really quick to make sure we don't sound just crazy right now. All right, we sound pretty good, right? So ending the quarter 44-5, giving us a 90% win rate, catching a total of 155,207 pips. Again, all this stuff is data timed and documented. So if you want to fact check me, you can do the hard work. It's going to be hard work, but you can do it, right? Literally everything is data timed and documented. I sent the link out. We go live every day. I literally break down every single trade I take live. If not, as well, enter the trade live. So there's no making none of this shit up, right? So you can check all this stuff out. All the wins and losses are posted. You recap the day at the end of every day, recap the week at the end of every week, as well as recap the month at the end of every month. And we do the recap of the quarter as well. This is how we wrapped up last year. We went 89% win rate, 181 wins, 23 losses to wrap up 2024, catching 326,550 pips. Again, we've been doing this for a very, very, very long time consistently. We've been averaging high 90% rates for a long, long time. It's called the playbook for a reason. You click where it says subscribers and scroll down to where it says photos. There's over 1,500 photos and over 3 years worth of receipts, screenshots of positions, screenshots of signals, as well as student results and testimonials. You see I'm scrolling. We can scroll literally all the way to the middle of 2022. So there's over 3 years worth of receipts, y'all. We've been doing this. Nothing has changed. Catching the same amount of crazy moves, right? We've been doing the same thing. Nothing has changed but the date, the year, the months, and the account sizes. Right? So make sure you check all that stuff out, y'all. Make sure to also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Y'all see that scrolling at the bottom of y'all screens. Instagram playmaker_way, TikTok _playmakerway_. I post daily on both pages. All right. Let's see we can break this level here. Got a new 5-minute about to pop up in a couple minutes. If you guys got any questions, drop them in the chat. Want to get any charts, drop them in the chat. But you already know the drill. We're just chilling, patiently waiting right now. Do you think it's a good idea for me getting a GJ star right now? That's up to you. Like I said, if you can hold 186.35 as resistance, we're still looking for sales. All right, so still holding right now. Now it's a little bit far from that level, so at this exact moment, I wouldn't recommend going for a sell. I wait for it to retrace a little bit. Then, y'all, we got FOMC later on today. Gonna be going live with the members and students during that. I was like, what happened to my music? The playlist ended. I was like, okay, it's a little too silent. My bad, y'all. I was like, what's going on? I had to pull up the tab, see what's taking place. If you guys got any questions, drop them in the chat. When we look at any charts, drop them in the chat. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed already, y'all. We're almost at 3,300 subscribers. We can get to that easily. All right, so I'm about to see if we can hold this level here. I like how that candlestick is looking. Well, let's see if we can hold. So as long as it doesn't troll us and try to fucking do this full move in the last 2 minutes, we're going to wait to see how this candlestick closes and what the next candlestick is looking like. So price wants to keep on retracing. So simply until price breaks the rules of the uptrend, I'm just going to continue to move my buy idea down until we have a level holding as support. That's exactly what I did here. Exactly what I did last week. Multiple times. All right, it's very, very, very simple. Just stick to the playbook. All right, let's see if we can hold this right here. Yeah, so those things are going to retrace. So we're just going to let them do their thing. Let's see if we can hold this as resistance. Yeah, I like how this is looking right here. So this is still valid as a sell as well. Now, I've done a pretty big move for the day, but it is retracing right here. We can still catch a move. And sales is still the move to go for because again we're clearly in a downtrend. We're in the middle of a lower low. We do got a little bit of work to do. We're definitely going to need to hold and respect this low as resistance here at 186.35. So these next two levels are very important to be held as resistance, right? Especially because we already filled this gap up. So we need to keep pushing down. Now again, with G, I'm not pulling the trigger yet. I'm waiting for it to be held as resistance. You saw me go on a smaller time frame to confirm that. We have not held this as resistance yet, so I'm going to just wait for it to be held as resistance before I pull the trigger. Versus here, we do see that this is being held as resistance. So this is not a terrible sell setup right here. Yeah, so there's a few setups we can see play out. Again, keep in mind at 2 o'clock, so we're going to see price continue to range like it is kind of right now, or the other charts keep retracing like they are right now, or play out in this next few hours. But we don't really see anything pop out, especially by like between like on the session, especially going to like 6:30, 8 o'clock. New York session, we don't see anything, especially after like 10 o'clock. It's probably gonna be just chilling up until FOMC pops off, right? That's usually how it goes. Usually some nice moves and setups, then FOMC pops off, or volume's just dead all day up until FOMC pops off. Yeah, I like how UJ and G are looking for sales. Right, and gold, we're still bearish unless we break above 36 to start treating that as support, right? So anything below that, like we still maintain this as resistance. We're still going to be looking for sales. But if we break past this, because we're in reversal territory right now. So if we break past especially 30.78, we're going to be having the bullish momentum collectively play. So that's why I'm kind of not really looking at NAS and gold, because NAS and gold are kind of just, I'm just letting them do their thing and breathe. You get what I'm saying? That's why I've really been talking about gold today, or really NAS all week, right? Besides the Sunday chart analysis. All right. Shout out to everybody in the live. Shout out to everybody that's been live since the beginning. Shout out to everybody that's been live since y'all joined. Make sure to hit that first link in the description. Join a free signal for Telegram. If you're interested in how to identify these lows and signal servers on mentorship programs, make sure to hit those links in the description. Again, quarter two sale is still going on and active. Just use code Q2 for literally everything, all the playbooks, one-on-one sessions, advanced play signaling, of course, all that good stuff. Use discount code Q2 before checkout. All right, y'all. But again, we broke down what we're looking for today. This is why, again, I like to wait for my confirmations. So we're simply just going to be patiently waiting, watching how these charts play out. Like the G and G, we're trying to see if they can hold these levels. And we're going to be watching GM to see if it's going to hold this low as support, or if it's just going to keep on retracing. Because again, the retracing makes sense because it did do a big move yesterday as well. All right, y'all.